The train was supposed to be the last safe place left in the country, but the moment screams begin echoing from the next carriage. Everyone realizes this train is no longer transportation. It's a moving coffin. Passengers slam themselves violently against the glass doors like wild animals. People who looked completely normal just seconds ago are now transforming into bloodthirsty creatures. And in the middle of this chaos is a father who only wanted to take his daughter to see her mother. But now, survival is the only thing that matters. Inside the train, fear quickly turns into total disaster. Passengers, who were arguing only moments earlier, suddenly begin tearing each other apart. The infection spreads faster than anyone can process. One bite, one scratch. A few terrifying seconds, that's all it takes. The survivors soon discover something horrifying. The infected never hesitate. They don't feel pain. And the second they detect movement, they attack instantly. As the train races toward Busan, every carriage becomes a death trap. Some people freeze in fear. Some abandon others. And some reveal who they truly are when society begins collapsing. But one man immediately stands out, Seok-woo. While everyone else is trying to save themselves, he charges directly toward danger to protect his pregnant wife. Using nothing but his fists, he fights back against the infected. And that's the moment this movie stops feeling like just another zombie film. It becomes a story about humanity. When the survivors realize their loved ones are trapped several infected carriages away, they understand they only have one choice. They must move through the zombies alive. The plan sounds impossible. Every carriage ahead is filled with infected passengers, but staying still means death. Anyway, so Seok-woo, Sang-hwa, and Young-guk prepare for what feels like a suicide mission. They wrap tape and clothing around their arms to protect themselves from bites. Then the door opens, and instantly chaos erupts. The infected launch themselves forward with terrifying speed. Sang-hwa punches through zombies one after another while protecting the others behind him. The narrow train aisle becomes a brutal battlefield. There's nowhere to run, no time to breathe, only survival. And what makes the scene even scarier is how realistic it feels. There are no superheroes here, just exhausted, terrified people trying desperately to stay alive. Just when all hope seems lost, the survivors discover something important. In complete darkness, the infected can barely see, and that weakness becomes their only chance. Using phone screens and flashes to distract the zombies, they slowly move through carriages packed with infected bodies. This entire sequence is filled with unbearable tension. Every sound matters, every movement matters, and one tiny mistake could kill everyone. The zombies violently react to even the smallest light source. Meanwhile, the survivors hold their breath while standing only inches away from death. For a moment, the movie focuses less on action and more on fear itself, and somehow, that silence feels even more terrifying than the attacks. After barely surviving impossible odds, Seok-woo and the others finally reach the safe carriage, but instead of relief, they're met with fear. The passengers inside refuse to let them enter. Even after watching them fight for survival, the others still see them as a threat. And leading that fear is Yeon-suk, a selfish businessman who represents the worst side of human nature. He manipulates the passengers until everyone turns against the survivors. The doors stay shut. People scream, beg for help, but fear has already destroyed empathy. Eventually, the survivors are isolated like criminals, and this is the moment the movie reveals its true message. The zombies are dangerous, but greed, cowardice, and selfishness are even worse. Because unlike zombies, humans choose to abandon each other. Then comes the most emotional moment in the entire movie. As the zombies close in, Sang-hwa stays behind to protect everyone else, alone. Using only his body and strength, he physically blocks the infected long enough for the others to escape. The doors begin closing. His wife screams helplessly, and the others watch in horror as Sang-hwa keeps fighting until the very end. This scene hits so hard because Sang-hwa isn't a superhero. He's simply a good man, and in a world consumed by selfishness, good people become unforgettable. At the beginning of the movie, Seok-woo was emotionally distant, work-obsessed father who barely had time for his daughter, but this horrifying journey changes him completely. After witnessing so many sacrifices, he finally understands what truly matters. Not money, not status, only his daughter. In the final confrontation, he fights desperately to protect the remaining survivors, but during the struggle, he gets bitten, and suddenly the movie becomes heartbreaking because now he knows he only has a few moments left. While driving the train forward, memories of his daughter begin flooding his mind. For the first time, we see more love in him than fear. When Seok-woo realizes he's about to transform, he makes the hardest decision of his life. He says goodbye to his daughter, then throws himself off the moving train before he can hurt anyone. It's devastating, because he finally became the father his daughter needed, only when it was already too late. In the final scene, Suan and the pregnant woman walk through a dark tunnel toward Busan. Soldiers in the distance prepare to shoot because they believe the two survivors might be infected. But then, Suan begins singing the same song she practiced earlier in the movie. And in that moment, the soldiers realize they are human survivors. The movie ends quietly, not with victory, not with celebration, but with sacrifice, grief, and one final spark of hope. Because Train to Busan was never just a zombie movie. It was a story about what people become when the world falls apart.